much time are you spending in revision?
Again, really depends on the book. When I was revising Mind Jack #6, the book that almost killed me, a lot of the killing part was in revisions. I'm like, oh God, I can't make this work. It's not working. It's not working. So I struggled a bit with that one. Sometimes I'll write a book and it is just exactly what I wanted from tail to stern, and it's just done. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're done with that one. I read through them, to make sure I haven't done something stupid, like, change a character name halfway through or something. I've done that a couple of times.
Are you
But
revising as you go, or are you big on finish and then revise?
I guess I'm a revise as I go in a way. I like to finish a chapter and I'll like read over it a few times, make sure it all flows and that kind of thing. But I don't do major revisions as I go because often I don't know. Like I need to especially if you're pantsing your way through a story, there might be some key thing at the end or like, oh, I got to go back and fix that at the beginning and get it all to work. But I haven't done I don't do, I guess I should say, really large scale revisions in general. I usually know my story better than that before I get to that. So if there is some huge thing in the third act that, oh my God, now I have to change everything in the first act, that has happened. But
I'm
not,
sorry.
yeah, I know, right? You're like, oh God, I'm going to go cry for a while. Um, but not often, and not since I know how to tell stories better than that now. After 34 books, I kind of have the sense of how to avoid that particular tangle. Which is why actually figuring out the first couple of chapters is usually where I spend a lot of time. Those first 2 chapters will take me way more time than, the last half of the book even sometimes. Because by that point I'm like, oh yes, it's the race to the finish, and I know, and I'm off to banging it out. So
I've learned that my suffering can be alleviated if I turn in about the first half, the first 2/3 of my manuscript to my critique group rather than finishing it and then turning it in. Because if I can get that feedback from them while I'm still writing, then I can incorporate it and make earlier changes and save myself a lot of time on the back. And are you using critique partners and beta readers?
no, and in fact I stopped doing that a while ago, like probably after my first 5 or 6 novels.
Was it because of the critique I gave you? I'm so sorry.
No, it was because I was too fast. Honestly, I was burning them out because I wanted and needed more critique than, or more people to read my manuscript than I could do in return partially, and also it was just, people don't have time to read your manuscript, so they're doing their own works, which is great. And for a while I had a paid editor who I would use instead to do that, although I have never used a paid editor for my romance. My romance has always been just me doing it solo, and that was partly
Not even a
because
copy editor?
no, actually, which people are like, oh God, no, you don't use a copy editor, you're one of those. um, it's
Got
because
this person. It's working. Keep doing what you're doing.
that's one reason. Um, and part of it is because I have developed a process to catch my typos, and I know how to I am a copy editor basically. All right, so I can read my own book to a certain extent and catch stuff. I also use WordRake and Grammarly to catch typos and stuff like that. And in the end, there's a certain amount that you're never going to catch. So it's I'm going to get, I could keep reading through this. I could give it out to a copy editor, which I've done. I mean, I've used copy editors as on a trial basis with those books. I'm like, here, copy edit, see if you can find any more errors in it. And then they come back and they're finding 2 things. And I'm like, okay, we're at 98% or 99%. We don't need to keep belaboring that. So I have a process to try to catch the errors that I want to catch. But that's not really editing. That's copy editing is just proofing your book. The editing, I got away from that because I really got to a point as a writer where I know how to write what I want to write. All right. So the books that I know when the book has reached the point where it is the thing that I want it to be. And because I'm a self-published writer, I can publish it that way. Like, I don't have an editor that's going to come back to me and tell me, hey, your market isn't going to like, the romance you have here, you have to change it, or you have to dumb down this section to make it more understandable to your readers, or whatever. Like, I don't have to put up with that. I can publish the books as I want to publish them. It's one of the beautiful things about being a self-published author.
Well, don't you feel at a loss, because we all know that editors consistently put out only great best-selling books, and so their wisdom should never be questioned, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I have friends who are editors, and I think they do wonderful service for people. And and if there was a book I was writing, which there may be in my future, I've got a friend who's an editor, and I've said, I'm going to do a book with you someday, and it's going to be a book that I'm not quite sure about. It's going to be a book where I'm stretching so far that it's outside my comfort zone, and I'm going to need someone to come in and tell me, where I'm succeeding and where I'm failing, to give me that benchmark. And he's like, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm ready, so they're cool, right? I mean, and some people need editors just to tell them they're doing okay. And that's fine too. It's like whatever your process is, I have no judgments about that. You do what works for you and party on.
Well, I aspire to Susan Kaye Quinness. Unfortunately, I have several blind spots that I've worked a lot over the years to get better at, but I need that impartial set of eyes that hasn't been working on my book of my heart for the past 6 months, that can come in fresh and see the things that I've missed.
Right. Well, sure. Absolutely. And and that's part of knowing yourself too, right? I have another friend who is like, I just can she needs someone to do like line editing, because she like will mix words sometimes, like put them backwards from what they're supposed to be, and she can just never catch them. So she's like, I need someone to just read for that, just to make sure that I haven't done some weird word thing. So everybody has their spots that they need. Or most people will have a spot that they need some help with, and that people actually can help with. So if it's something that other people can help you with, and you have those people, then of course, why not, right? Go for that. So
No, it's however you want to do it, baby. I have an acquaintance who scandalizes me, but it's working. He will publish his book, and then if it begins to sell and he knows that he's honed in on the market, then he hires an editor. So I'll read the reviews, and there'll be things like, this character's name switched 3 times during the manuscript. I couldn't believe the number of errors, but what a compelling story. 5 stars. I couldn't get enough of it. And if it's working, who am I to say that that's not exactly what he should be doing?
Right. Hey, whatever works for you. This is part of having the wild west of indie publishing, is that people can try stuff like that or whatever, and it's all on you.